is a video where we start to look at the concept of scope of variables in Java. Now, the scope of a variable is which part of the program you can see it in. And to start with, we've written this little short demo program which calculates an average. The idea is that we've got a count of some number of items here, which we set to 5, and we've got the total values of all those items added up. Let's suppose they all add up to 35, so we're going to work out the average, which is going to be 35 divided by 5, which should be 7. Okay, and actually we've run it over here, and you can see that it is 7. So you think, oh, okay, that's looking okay. Well, why don't we do a little bit of testing? Now, one of the things we should try testing is what are called boundary values, values which are kind of extreme. So what happens if we set it to 0, okay, which is maybe not impossible. Now if we compile this, it compiles okay. When you run it, you get this exception. An exception is a runtime error. It's something that happens when we run the program, and basically there's been a problem, and it says arithmetic exception divide by 0. And it tells you what line it's on, which is line 5, which is here. So basically it doesn't like dividing by 0. So you look at this thing, oh okay, well I just need to change this program so that before we do the division we check to see if this value is 0 or not. So we're going to put a little test in here. So we're going to say if count equals 0. And then I'm going to put in here system.out.println can't spell 0. Get that. Okay, and then this is going to go in an else down here because we need to put this print line here in here, because obviously we don't want to do this if the average is incorrect, if it's not actually going to be a realistic value because this is 0, and actually now we need to put the calculation of the average in here. So we want to say, well, average equals total slash count. Okay, right, well, okay, so we put it in here, that's fine, but we better not try and calculate it here because this is going to cause the divide by 0 error, so we better take the calculation out there. And now we've just declared this variable average down here, and we're going to calculate the average only if the count is not equal to 0. So what happens? Well, it compiles okay, and we run it, and it prints divide by 0, and that's fine. Okay, all okay. Now, the thing that we notice about this is that we're only actually using this variable called average in this part of the code here. It doesn't occur anywhere else. Now, some programming languages insist that you declare your variables all at the start of the program, and that's what we've done here, and that's what we've mainly done so far in the programs we've seen. But Java doesn't require you to do that. You just have to declare them before you use them, and actually it's good practice to declare them as soon before you use them as possible. Okay, so in this case we would say, well, let's take that out of there, and then let's just put the word int in here. So now we're declaring this variable at this point, and we are using it at this point too. Okay, so if I save this and I change this back to say 5, save it again, of course. Now if I compile this and run it, it now prints 7 again. So that's fine. Okay, so it is generally good practice to actually go and declare variables immediately before we use them where possible. But there's a little gotcha or problem, and that is that if we declare a variable between a pair of curly brackets like this, we cannot use it outside them. Okay, we can use variables like count and total that we've declared outside this block. Okay, so code inside this block here can see things that are outside it, but you cannot outside see in, and you can see this if we put a little around here. So if we put system.out.println average here, then if we compile this, we can see now it's an error. Okay, there's a scope error, cannot find symbol, and that's because we're trying to use average outside this block here. Now there's a couple of other things that we need to look at about scope, but we're going to do those in the next video.